Hello, everyone, and welcome to English Pod. My name is Marco.
My name is Catherine, and today we're talking all about cars in this intermediate level lesson.
That's right. We have a little bit of problems with our car, and we're going to talk about some possible solutions to these car problems we have. So why don't we just listen to the dialogue today? We have no words on vocabulary preview, so let's jump right into the dialogue and listen for the first time.
Car Trouble Center, how may I help you?
My car won't start. Stupid old car.
Hold on. Before you kick your car, let's go through some possible problems.
Fine.
Okay, first of all, can you turn the key in the ignition?
Yeah, I'm here with my friend, and he thinks it may be the spark plug or the starter motor.
Those are possible problems, but tell me, when you turn the key, do you hear the starter motor crank?
Yeah, it sounds like it usually does when I start the car, but nothing else happens. The engine won't start. Should I maybe press the accelerator?
No. If you step on the accelerator pedal, you can flood the carburetor and your car will never start.
So what do you think it is?
I know this may seem like a silly question, but does your car have gasoline?
Yeah. Right. I got the car started. Thanks for your help. I told you to fill the tank.
Okay, so this dialogue reminds me a lot of a radio show in America called Car Talk. And the hosts of the show, like Marco and I today, they talk about how to solve problems, and they ask you questions to find out what the problem is. So it's a really helpful show, but let's take a look at some of the phrases and words that you heard so we can understand what exactly is going on here.
Language takeaway.
All right, so today on Language Takeaway, we have 5 words, and they're all very specific to the car. So why don't we start with the first word? It's a noun, and we are talking about the ignition.
Ignition. The ignition is the first step to... The ignition is a part of the first step to starting a car. Basically, under the wheel of the car, the steering wheel, there's usually a silver hole where you can put the key in. Mm-hmm. This is the ignition. It starts the car.
Exactly. So you put the key in the ignition and you can start the car. And to start the car means to turn it on, to get it going.
That's right. And so ignition is the first step, starting the ignition.
Okay. So moving on to our next word, we have a word that's formed by 2 different parts. A spark plug. A spark plug. Spark
plug. So a spark plug is an electrical object. Basically, this has to do with electricity and the way that the car gets energy.
Mm-hmm. So it's called a spark plug because it creates a spark, which is a brief burst of current. So this basically creates a small spark of electricity, and this makes the gasoline ignite, so that's what makes the car go.
Right, so energy is taken from the battery to start a small fire, basically, so which then starts the engine. Spark plug, it's a very small but very important part of a car.
Very good. And moving on, we have the starter motor.
Okay, to be very honest with you, I'm not a car person, so I'm not sure what the starter motor is. Maybe you can explain this to us, Marco.
Okay, so basically your car runs on gasoline, right? Mm-hmm. So you put your key into the ignition and you turn it, right? This in turn sends energy to this little motor called a starter motor. And that basically gets the car going by means of an electrical current before the gasoline ignites. So it's like a little electrical motor that makes the spark plug ignite and causes some of the mechanical parts like the pistons move within the car, and then it turns on.
Okay, so again, this is all about the beginning of when we turn the key in the ignition, what happens. This is a starter motor. So once we've turned the car on, we've turn the key in the ignition, we have to worry about giving the car gas. So we can control gas with the accelerator pedal.
Mm-hmm. So by saying you want to give the car gas is you want to give it more energy, more power, or less energy, right?
Right. So if I want to go very fast, I push my foot down on the accelerator, and the further down it goes, the faster I move.
Exactly. So that's the accelerator. Now, the opposite of making the car go would make the car stop. stop, and those are called
Brakes.
brakes.
So on the left, we have a brake pedal, and on the right, we have an accelerator pedal.
Very good. Okay, and talking about acceleration and gas, we have a very specific mechanical object, and that's called a carburetor.
Okay, again, carburetor. I know that this is under the hood of my car, but I'm not sure what it does. Let's talk about this.
All right, so it's not very common to have a carburetor anymore in new cars, but basically it's a small device that controls the flow of gasoline from the gas tank to the engine. And basically what it does, it makes the gasoline into a type of very thin mist. And that's what that way the gasoline can ignite easier. So the further down you push your foot on the accelerator, the wider the little gap or the hole will open on the carburetor, and that way your car will go faster.
All right, very good. So that's all we've got for language takeaway today, but don't go anywhere. We'll be back in a second with Fluency Builder.
Car Trouble Center, how may I help you?
My car won't start. Stupid old car.
Hold on. Before you kick your car, let's go through some possible problems.
Fine.
Okay, first of all, can you turn the key in the ignition?
Yeah, I'm here with my friend, and he thinks it may be the spark plug or the starter motor.
Those are possible problems, but tell me, when you turn the key, do you hear the starter motor crank?
Yeah, it sounds like it usually does when I start the car, but nothing else happens. The engine won't start. Should I maybe press the accelerator?
No. If you step on the accelerator pedal, you can flood the carburetor and your car will never start.
So what do you think it is?
I know this may seem like a silly question, but does your car have gasoline?
Yeah. Right. I got the car started. Thanks for your help. I told you to fill the tank.
All right, we're back. So now why don't we take a look at 4 key phrases that we have for you on Fluency Builder.
Fluency Builder.
Okay, this first phrase. So you heard the phrase at the beginning, car trouble center. But car trouble center, that's maybe the name of a fake company that we use. But the phrase car trouble is very, very common.
So if you say, I'm having car trouble or I had some car trouble, what does that mean?
That means my car broke.
Okay. So
But you don't say my car broke. This is one thing that can't break, because normally you say I'm having trouble or I'm having car trouble because a part of my car is not working.
Okay. So instead of saying I'm having problems with my car or my car broke, you just say I had car trouble or I'm having car trouble.
That's right. So this is a really good excuse for coming to work late. You can say, oh, I'm so sorry. I was having car trouble this morning.
Right. So any type of problems with your car can be considered car trouble. Flat tire, no battery, etc.
Etc. Yes.
Okay. Now moving on, we have a very interesting verb here. We heard when the guy was talking about the starter motor, he said, do you hear the starter motor crank?
Okay, to crank. So this is a very interesting verb. It can also be a noun. It's a sound. Okay, but it's also a movement. So when something turns around in a circle, dunk, 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 maybe you think of a metal wheel, dunk, dunk, that's a crank. So sometimes we talk about those old cars, 1910s, 1920s, the first Ford cars. You had to crank them in the front. You had to actually turn with your hand a wheel to make the car start.
Right.
So this is a crank.
Exactly. You can hear this in your car. Maybe if your car doesn't have gasoline, you hear the tick, 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 tick. That's the starter motor cranking.
So it's going around in circles, trying to create energy.
Exactly. And now when the guy was talking about the accelerator and he was talking about the carburetor, he said, no, don't step on that pedal because you can flood the carburetor. So to flood.
Okay. To flood. This is a verb. Maybe you've heard the word flood before as a noun, but this means to fill something with liquid, with gasoline, with water, with milk. So to flood something is to fill it up with a liquid.
Okay, very good. So you can flood a dam, for example, right?
That's right.
Okay.
Or in this case, you can flood a carburetor, which means it won't work because it's all wet.
Okay, very good. And the last phrase that we have very handy when you're talking about cars is to fill the tank.
Okay, this is always a problem at my house because I hate to fill the tank.
Really?
And so, yeah, whenever my car's in the driveway and someone in my family asks if they can borrow it, I say, yeah, sure. And then obviously an hour later they come back and say, why don't you ever fill the tank? It's empty. You have no gas. And I say, well, I hate to fill the car with gas. And so I always have an empty tank. So I never fill the tank.
Okay, so that's what it means. To fill the tank is to have it full of gasoline.
Right, to put gasoline into your gasoline tank.
Okay, very good. Why don't we go back and listen to the dialogue for the last time, and we'll be back to talk a little bit more.
Car Trouble Center, how may I help you?
My car won't start. Stupid old car.
Hold on. Before you kick your car, let's go through some possible problems.
Fine.
Okay, first of all, can you turn the key in the ignition?
Yeah, I'm here with my friend, and he thinks it may be the spark plug or the starter motor.
Those are possible problems, but tell me, when you turn the key, do you hear the starter motor crank?
Yeah, it sounds like it usually does when I start the car, but nothing else happens. The engine won't start. Should I maybe press the accelerator?
No. If you step on the accelerator pedal, you can flood the carburetor and your car will never start.
So what do you think it is?
I know this may seem like a silly question, but does your car have gasoline?
Yeah. Right. I got the car started. Thanks for your help. I told you to fill the tank.
All right, we're back. So, talking about cars and car trouble, I understand, for example, in some countries, when you're getting a driver's license, you're forced or obliged to learn a little bit of car mechanics. You have to learn about the engine or how to change your tire and basic things like this.
That's a brilliant idea. In America, you don't have to know how to fix your car. You have to know how to pay someone to fix your car. But basically, we only learn the rules of the road. So the signs and the basic rules.
Really?
Yeah, but I think it would be very helpful to know how to fix a tire or how to change the oil in your car. I mean, is this a requirement in Ecuador?
Yeah. When
Really?
you're getting your driver's permit, your driver's license, you have to take a course which shows you the mechanics of the car, first aid course, and also basic road rules and all that stuff. But basically, because it can be something very simple, like for example, they show you where the battery is, where you can check the oil and basic things like this. So maybe the little cable from the battery just came loose, and that's why your car won't start.
Yeah.
So instead of you waiting for 2 hours until somebody comes and picks you up, or a tow truck, you can just check very briefly basic things that can maybe go wrong in your car, and you can just go on your way.
That's awesome. I
Yeah.
had my dad for that.
You would
My
tell
dad
your
said, I'm not going to have a little girl who doesn't know how to change a tire or who doesn't know how to check the oil levels. So, yeah, but not everybody has a parent who will teach them.
Right. No, and it's very handy because, for example, you get a flat tire. And sometimes, cars can be a little bit tricky. The wheel nuts are sometimes covered by a plastic cover, so
Yeah.
you don't know how to take it off. There's a special tool for that. Or the jack. Sometimes the jack is not the normal one that you have to pump up
Yeah.
and down. It's a little one that you have to turn a lever and you have to do this. So it's very, very useful to know these things.
Absolutely. I'm curious to know if our listeners out there have experience with cars and car mechanics. And if you have this rule, like Marco says, they have in Ecuador, about learning about cars before you actually get your driver's license.
Yeah.
From the moment you first turn the key in your car's ignition or attempt to start a long-awaited journey on a cool morning, the language of car mechanics quietly becomes a part of your daily life. In our modern world, where vehicles are an indispensable part of our transportation system and our independence, understanding the vocabulary that surrounds car troubleshooting is essential not only for practical problem solving, but also for effective communication with mechanics, service advisors, and even fellow drivers. It is a language that bridges technical expertise with everyday experience, a vocabulary that enables us to articulate issues clearly when the car fails to start, when strange noises emerge, or when one of its many parts seems to have abandoned its function. In this discussion, we begin by exploring the importance of mastering this technical lexicon, its roots in both American and global automotive culture, and the ways in which it enriches our everyday interactions when we face car troubles. Every car owner, regardless of background, has likely encountered the situation where the vehicle refuses to start. The first step in resolving such an issue is often rooted in a basic understanding of the various components involved in starting a car. Components that come with names like ignition, spark plug, starter motor, accelerator, carburetor, and battery, to name a few. For instance, when you insert the key into the ignition, you are initiating a process that sends electrical signals through the starter motor, which then rotates the engine to begin the combustion process. It is the spark plug's tiny burst of electricity that ignites the mixture of fuel and air, setting the engine in motion. While such technical details may seem daunting at first, knowing these terms provides a framework that allows you to effectively describe what you are experiencing when your car fails to function as expected. For example, if your car won't start, and you mention that you didn't even hear the starter motor crank, you are offering a concise, accurate description that can help a mechanic quickly diagnose whether the problem lies with the electrical system, the battery, or some other component. In this way, technical vocabulary becomes an essential tool, allowing for clarity and precision when discussing issues that directly impact one's mobility and daily schedule. In American automotive culture, where vehicles are more than just machines, they are symbols of freedom, independence, and self-reliance. The language used to describe car troubles is practical and widely understood. Expressions such as "my car is having trouble" or "there's something wrong with the ignition" are part of the everyday vernacular. These phrases are often accompanied by detailed descriptions of symptoms. You might say, "The engine won't start even though I turn the key," or "my car's acting up and the dashboard lights flicker before it dies." Such descriptive language not only helps in identifying the issue, but also reflects a broader cultural emphasis on self-sufficiency. In many American households, basic car maintenance is something learned from an early age. Knowing how to change a tire, check oil levels, and even diagnose simple problems is part of growing up. Mastery of the associated vocabulary allows one to communicate more effectively, whether it's calling roadside assistance, discussing the issue with a trusted mechanic, or even explaining the situation to a friend. The everyday language of car troubleshooting often goes hand in hand with a touch of humor and self-deprecation, typical of American conversational style. It is not uncommon to hear someone remark, "My car's being a real diva today," or "looks like my old ride just doesn't want to cooperate this morning." This informal style makes the conversation more relatable and lighthearted, even in situations that could potentially disrupt one's plans. Moreover, such expressions help to soften the gravity of the malfunction and convey a sense of resilience, an understanding that, despite the inconvenience, a problem can be fixed and life goes on. This kind of language, blending technical terminology with everyday idioms, is indicative of how American culture values clear communication while maintaining a jovial spirit, even in challenging circumstances. Globally, car troubleshooting vocabulary takes on additional layers of significance as vehicles and automotive terms have become a universal language shared among millions. Whether you are in Tokyo, London, or Johannesburg, the basic components of a car remain the same, and so does much of the language used to describe them. The term ignition will be widely understood as the starting mechanism, while spark plug universally denotes the small device that ignites the fuel-air mixture. This universality means that for non-native speakers or those from different cultural backgrounds, a well-established vocabulary in car troubleshooting can serve as a bridge to communicate effectively in any international setting. For instance, if an American tourist encounters a problem with a rental car in Europe, using standardized terms can significantly ease the exchange with a service technician who may not be fluent in English. This shared language not only improves the chances of a timely resolution, but also highlights how technical vocabulary in automotive context functions as a lingua franca, facilitating cross-cultural understanding and cooperation. The application of this technical vocabulary is not confined solely to troubleshooting the immediate issues of a malfunctioning vehicle. It also plays an integral role in preventative maintenance and scheduled service appointments. Many vehicle owners learn to recognize early signs of wear or malfunction, such as abnormal sounds from the engine, issues with the brakes, or unusual dashboard warnings. By learning the precise terms associated with these issues, drivers are able to communicate more effectively with mechanics during routine maintenance visits. Instead of simply saying, "Something's wrong with my car," they might specify, "The engine seems to be misfiring, and I haven't been able to hear the spark plug firing normally when I turn the key. Such specificity not only aids in faster diagnosis, but also prevents potential misunderstandings that can lead to prolonged downtime or incorrect repairs. In this way, a robust vocabulary serves as both a practical tool for ensuring the longevity of a vehicle and a means of cultivating a deeper understanding of automotive mechanics. Moreover, as technology advances and vehicles become increasingly complex with the integration of computer systems and advanced diagnostics, the language around car troubleshooting continues to evolve. Modern cars often come equipped with onboard diagnostics that communicate error codes and system malfunctions via displays on the dashboard. Learning how to interpret these codes and associate them with their corresponding technical terms is a skill that is increasingly valuable for today's drivers. The phrase check engine light has become common parlance, and understanding what it signifies can help drivers decide when to seek professional help. As car technology advances, so too does the linguistic landscape surrounding vehicles, a landscape that now includes digital terminology and cybernetic references, broadening the scope of traditional automotive vocabulary. For an English learner or even a native speaker, staying current with these developments not only enhances practical knowledge, but also improves one's ability to navigate a rapidly changing technological environment. In reflecting on my own experiences with car troubles, I recall numerous occasions when a clear understanding of automotive vocabulary made all the difference. There were mornings when a low battery or a clogged carburetor left me stranded, and in those moments, knowing the difference between a starter motor issue and a spark plug malfunction helped me quickly describe the problem to a mechanic over the phone. It is these practical moments that underscore the importance of mastering the vocabulary associated with car troubleshooting. Not only does it empower the individual to take charge of their vehicle's care, but it also promotes effective communication that can save time, reduce frustration, and ultimately lead to a smoother, safer journey. For many people, learning this vocabulary begins with a simple curiosity about how their car works. Over time, that curiosity often evolves into a practical necessity, as daily life demands that we understand and address issues promptly. In workshops, school classes, or even casual conversations in garages, these words become the building blocks of a shared knowledge base that spans across regions and cultures. Whether discussing the intricacies of a failing ignition system or the proper technique for checking the fuel level before a long trip, the language used in these conversations is an essential part of maintaining a functional relationship with our vehicles. It reflects a broader trend in American culture, a trend toward self-reliance and informed independence, where individuals are encouraged to learn basic mechanical skills and use their acquired vocabulary to engage with technical subjects confidently. As we delve further into the intricacies of automotive communication, the focus naturally shifts to how these technical terms are practically applied in day-to-day interactions. The journey of understanding begins with simple phrases and builds toward a more comprehensive grasp of language that can seamlessly blend technical details with everyday conversation. This gradual progression is evident in the way people learn to articulate their car troubles, from describing minor issues to diagnosing more significant problems. The vocabulary that initially seems daunting gradually becomes an everyday part of the lexicon, demystifying the complex workings of a vehicle and transforming an intimidating subject into a manageable and even enjoyable topic of conversation. At its essence, the language of car troubleshooting is a form of communication that is as technical as it is conversational. It mirrors a process of inquiry that is both systematic and creative, requiring the speaker to balance factual reporting with clear, understandable language that can be shared with anyone, mechanics, friends, or family members, regardless of their background in automotive technology. In this way, the vocabulary we have come to rely on in describing car issues becomes not only a means to an end, but also a reflection of the way we engage with the world around us. The emphasis on clear, direct language and the willingness to ask, "Does your car have gasoline?" or "Can you hear the starter motor crank?" underscores a proactive approach to problem solving that is central to both individual responsibility and effective communication. It is a language that, while technical in nature, is imbued with the values of honesty, diligence, and resourcefulness. A language that speaks to the modern driver's desire to be self-reliant, while also staying connected to a larger community of knowledgeable individuals. In this context, the learning of automotive vocabulary offers valuable lessons not only for those interested in car mechanics, but for all English language learners seeking to enhance their practical language skills. The ability to clearly articulate issues and describe symptoms in a precise manner is a skill that extends far beyond the realm of car troubles, lending itself to any situation that demands clear, effective communication. As such, the vocabulary associated with car troubleshooting serves as an accessible entry point into the world of technical English, a world where everyday language intersects with specialized terminology, making it possible for non-experts to engage in sophisticated discussions. This intersection is what makes the subject so compelling and useful, as it provides a window into how language functions in high-stakes, real-world scenarios. Moreover, the discourse surrounding car troubleshooting is continually evolving, driven by advances in technology and shifts in societal expectations. As modern vehicles become ever more sophisticated, the lexicon used to describe car problems expands to include digital diagnostics, error codes, and online troubleshooting techniques. New terms are coined, and familiar ones take on additional layers of meaning in the context of contemporary automotive technology. This evolution mirrors the broader trends in global communication, where technology and culture interact to shape the very ways in which we speak, write, and think. For the everyday car owner, staying up to date with this evolving vocabulary is not just a matter of convenience, but a necessary skill for navigating a fast-paced, technologically driven world. In understanding the language of car troubleshooting, we equip ourselves with the tools to take control of our vehicle's maintenance, troubleshoot issues efficiently, and communicate effectively with professionals when needed. As we reflect on all these aspects, it becomes clear that the mastery of car troubleshooting vocabulary is an essential component of modern literacy. It represents a practical application of language that combines technical knowledge with everyday communication skills. For those of us who rely on our vehicles for transportation, this language is a lifeline that connects us to the vast world of automotive technology and to the diverse community of individuals who share a passion for cars. The ability to speak about car problems with precision and confidence is not only a practical necessity but also a source of empowerment, a way to demystify the complex systems that underpin our daily commutes, and to assert a sense of control over unexpected situations. In summary, this first part of our discussion has laid the groundwork by examining the fundamental vocabulary of car troubleshooting and the ways in which it is integrated into everyday interactions in a multicultural context. We have seen how learning terms such as ignition, spark plug, starter motor, and carburetor is crucial not only for diagnosing mechanical issues, but also for navigating the social dimension of vehicle maintenance, from making phone calls for repairs to engaging in casual conversations about one's car. Through a global lens that incorporates perspectives from diverse cultures, particularly those familiar with American automotive traditions and broader international practices, we recognize that language is both a practical tool and an expressive art that enriches our understanding of everyday problems. The significance of this vocabulary lies in its ability to empower individuals, facilitate clear communication, and ultimately help maintain both the functionality of our vehicles and the quality of our daily lives. Now that the foundational vocabulary and its practical applications have been thoroughly explored, we move forward to analyze the real-world conversational strategies and techniques used when discussing car troubles, setting the stage for a deeper examination of dialogue patterns and practical communication methods in the final part of this essay. Building on the foundation laid in Part 1, where we explored the essential technical vocabulary and discussed the cultural context surrounding car troubleshooting, it is now time to examine how these words and expressions are applied in practical, everyday conversations. In any situation involving a malfunctioning vehicle, the way in which we communicate the problem can significantly affect the speed and accuracy of its resolution. This part of the essay will focus on the real-world scenarios where car owners interact with mechanics, customer service representatives, or roadside assistants, and how a clear command of language ensures that problems are articulated precisely, thereby reducing frustration and miscommunication. Imagine a typical morning when you're about to leave for work and suddenly discover that your car refuses to start. In the rush and frustration of the moment, your first task is to communicate the problem accurately. You might call a local repair service, and your conversation could begin with a simple yet crucial statement. "Hi, my car won't start." At this point, you have already engaged some of the vocabulary we discussed earlier. To clarify the situation further, you add, "I turned the key in the ignition, and I heard the starter motor crank, but then nothing happened. Such clear, descriptive language pinpoints the issue in a way that a trained mechanic can quickly grasp. By indicating that you turned the key and heard the starter motor crank, you immediately direct attention to a potential problem, not with the initial electrical signal but perhaps with the fuel system or another mechanical fault. In essence, your ability to describe these symptoms using precise vocabulary not only speeds up the diagnostic process but also minimizes the chance of miscommunication, a vital aspect in a situation where every minute counts. The practical use of these expressions extends beyond emergency phone calls. Consider the scenario where you're at a car service center, waiting for repairs to be completed. When talking with the service advisor, you might say, "I noticed that when I press the accelerator, nothing happens after the initial cranking of the engine." In doing so, you not only echo the terminology discussed earlier, using words like accelerator and crank, but you also provide a coherent narrative of the symptoms. This allows the technician to narrow down the potential causes, perhaps focusing on issues related to the carburetor or fuel injection system. A well-constructed explanation such as this benefits both the customer and the service provider, as the conversation creates a shared understanding of the problem that can lead to an efficient and accurate resolution. Furthermore, conversational techniques in the realm of car troubleshooting involve more than just technical descriptions. They require a careful balance of assertiveness and politeness, especially when the conversation might also serve as a platform for scheduling follow-up repairs or clarifying service details. For instance, if you're informed that the car issue might be more serious than anticipated, you may need to say something like, "I understand that there seems to be a problem with the fuel delivery system, and I'd like to have it inspected further. Could we reschedule my appointment for a more thorough diagnostic test?" In this way, you are not only employing the technical vocabulary, such as fuel delivery system, but you are also practicing the art of polite negotiation, rescheduling, apologizing for any inconvenience, and proposing a constructive next step. This kind of language is essential in maintaining a respectful and positive dialogue, ensuring that all parties are aligned on the necessary actions. In addition to phone calls and face-to-face meetings, digital communication has become an integral part of handling car troubles. Many drivers now book appointments or communicate with service centers via email or messaging applications. In these written communications, the precision of your vocabulary and the clarity of your expression become even more crucial. A well-crafted email might read, "Dear Service Manager, I regret to inform you that my vehicle is experiencing difficulties starting. When I turn the key in the ignition, I hear the initial cranking sound from the starter motor. However, the engine fails to fire. I suspect there may be an issue with the fuel system, possibly involving the carburetor. I kindly request an appointment for a diagnostic test at your earliest convenience. Thank you for your understanding." This written narrative not only reiterates the use of technical terms such as ignition, starter motor, and carburetor, but also models effective written communication skills, blending apology, technical description, and a clear request for action. For non-native English speakers, mastering such a form of written communication proves invaluable, offering a template that can be adapted to various professional contexts beyond just car troubleshooting. Another layer of complexity arises when the conversation involves multiple parties who may have differing levels of technical understanding. Suppose you are explaining a problem to a friend who is not well versed in car mechanics, but who might accompany you to the repair shop. In such a scenario, you must strike a balance between technical accuracy and accessibility. You might say, "When I try to start the car, I hear the motor kicking into action, but the engine doesn't come to life. It sounds like everything is working up to a point, but then it just stops, which makes me think there could be an issue with the part that mixes the air and fuel." Here, you substitute some of the more technical vocabulary with simpler explanations, ensuring that your friend understands the potential problem without being overwhelmed by jargon. This approach, adjusting language based on the audience, is a critical skill in any form of communication, and it is particularly important in situations where clarity can prevent further complications or misunderstandings. In multicultural contexts, understanding the nuances of appointment and problem reporting language is essential. People from different cultural backgrounds may have different expectations about the level of detail provided or the manner in which a problem is described. For instance, in some cultures, It might be considered impolite to provide too much personal detail when discussing a problem, whereas in others, a comprehensive explanation is expected. As a result, when communicating about car troubles, it is important to be aware of these cultural sensitivities. A phrase such as, "I'm sorry for any inconvenience" is widely acceptable, but its impact can be enhanced or diminished depending on the cultural context. In a global conversation, learning to gauge the appropriate level of detail and adjust your tone accordingly is as important as knowing the right technical terms. This cultural adaptability not only improves the efficacy of your communication, but also fosters better understanding and cooperation between individuals from diverse backgrounds. One might also consider the role of humor in the language of car troubleshooting. In many scenarios, especially when facing frustrating situations like a car that won't start on a cold morning, humor can be a valuable tool for easing tension. A humorous remark such as, "My car decided it was having a day off," or, "It looks like my old ride isn't feeling its best," can lighten the mood, making a potentially stressful conversation more approachable. Humorous expressions, when used appropriately, not only convey the information about the malfunction, but also help to humanize the problem, reminding everyone that mechanical issues are a common part of life. This aspect of language, where technical issues are met with lighthearted banter, often reflects the resilient spirit of drivers and owners who, despite setbacks, manage to maintain a sense of humor about their vehicles. Such expressions also underscore the idea that effective communication in troubleshooting situations involves not only precise vocabulary, but also the ability to engage empathetically and with a touch of levity. Furthermore, the strategies used in real-world dialogues about car troubleshooting often emphasize proactive problem-solving. When a vehicle fails to start, for example, the conversation is not merely about reporting the issue but also about seeking a solution promptly. A typical dialogue might involve a step-by-step elucidation of the symptoms. "I turned the key, I heard the starter motor turn, but then the engine just goes silent." This sequential description allows the mechanic or customer service representative to pinpoint potential problems and recommend specific troubleshooting steps. It is a language that is both methodical and dynamic, mirroring the systematic approach that underlies automotive repair processes. By learning how to describe a problem in this structured manner, individuals not only become better at managing their own vehicle issues, but also enhance their overall communicative efficiency, skills that are transferable to a range of professional and personal contexts. The vocabulary and strategies of car troubleshooting conversations are continually reinforced by practical experiences. In many parts of the country, car owners are familiar with the need to perform routine maintenance checks, such as replacing spark plugs, checking the battery, or ensuring that the engine is functioning properly. The ability to articulate these maintenance needs in English, using terms like spark plug, starter motor, or carburetor, becomes an essential part of the dialogue between the car owner and the service technician. This daily practice not only demystifies the technical aspects of vehicle maintenance, but also builds a repository of expressions that are useful in unforeseen circumstances. Over time, the language of car troubleshooting becomes second nature, allowing individuals to quickly and accurately communicate what might have otherwise been a stressful situation. In this way, consistent exposure to and practice with this specialized vocabulary improves overall language proficiency and instills a sense of confidence in handling technical conversations. Incorporating these conversational techniques in real-world scenarios also highlights the interplay between technology and language. As many car repairs or troubleshooting inquiries are now initiated through digital channels, whether via email, text messages, or online customer support platforms, the clarity and precision of language become even more critical. In a text message, for instance, a clear and concise description such as, "My car won't start. I hear the starter motor but nothing happens after," can make all the difference. The absence of vocal tone and body language in digital communications means that the chosen words must do all the work in conveying both the nature of the problem and the urgency of the situation. Through effective digital communication, one not only ensures that the message is received accurately, but also demonstrates professionalism and courtesy that are essential in today's fast-paced, technologically driven world. Moreover, the role of feedback in these interactions is invaluable. When an individual describes their vehicle's malfunction, The response from a knowledgeable mechanic or a service advisor plays a crucial role in reinforcing the correct use of terminology and offering practical advice. For example, if a car owner explains that my engine won't start despite hearing the crank, the mechanic might ask a follow-up question such as, "Have you checked if the car has sufficient gasoline?" Such exchanges serve a dual purpose. They diagnose the problem while simultaneously educating the customer on how to better articulate the issue in the future. This collaborative dialogue is a cornerstone of effective customer service in the automotive industry and illustrates the reciprocal nature of learning, where both parties benefit from clear and effective communication. As we move further into the practical realm, one of the most significant challenges in car troubleshooting conversations is understanding and adapting to the various conversational styles encountered across different settings, be it a casual phone call on a hectic morning or a more formal discussion at a repair shop. Each context requires a slight modification in language. The urgency of a breakdown situation might necessitate more direct language, while a scheduled appointment discussion allows for a more measured approach. It is in these subtle shifts that the beauty of language truly lies. An effective communicator adapts their tone to match the situation, ensuring that the message is both comprehensible and culturally appropriate. In multicultural environments, where the expectations for politeness and clarity can vary, such adaptability is an essential skill. Whether it is an American who is used to a direct and straightforward style, or someone from another culture who prefers a more indirect approach, mastering these variations enables smoother exchanges and prevents potential misunderstandings. The process of refining one's language skills in the context of car troubleshooting also involves learning from real-life experiences. Many drivers have stories of being stranded on the side of the road, frantically calling for help and trying to explain, in clear terms, what went wrong. These experiences, though often stressful in the moment, provide valuable lessons in how to communicate effectively under pressure. They illustrate the importance of knowing your vocabulary, of practicing how to describe symptoms in a structured way, and of being able to adapt quickly to a rapidly changing situation. Over time, such experiences contribute to an internalized understanding of how to frame a problem, ask for assistance, and follow up on advice, all crucial aspects of successful car troubleshooting dialogues. For non-native speakers, these narratives serve as excellent practice scenarios, allowing them to build both confidence and competence in handling real-world technical conversations. Furthermore, the conversation around car troubles is not limited solely to emergency service interactions. It extends to everyday discussions among friends and family members about vehicle maintenance and common issues. In many households, discussing car problems is routine. Conversations such as, "I need to get the tank filled," or "the brakes are acting up" are common, and they serve as an opportunity to reinforce technical vocabulary in a relaxed, informal setting. Such everyday exchanges highlight the practicality of mastering car troubleshooting language, as they empower individuals to take charge of minor repairs and maintain a level of technical understanding that can save time and money. In this way, the language of car troubleshooting becomes embedded in the daily life of a community, enriching not only one's technical repertoire, but also enhancing overall communication skills. Ultimately, the effectiveness of these conversational techniques is measured by their ability to clarify issues and prompt swift, accurate resolutions. When a vehicle fails to start or a seemingly minor malfunction spirals into a significant problem, the clarity of communication between the car owner and the service provider is often the difference between a quick fix and a prolonged crisis. In this context, the precise use of vocabulary, to specify, for example, whether the spark plug is malfunctioning or whether there is a problem with the starter motor, ensures that the issue is correctly diagnosed and efficiently addressed. The importance of this clarity is magnified in today's fast-paced society, where delays due to miscommunication can have serious repercussions on both personal schedules and larger operational processes. Moreover, the conversational strategies employed during these interactions are reflective of broader communicative principles that extend well beyond automotive repair. They emphasize not only the need for technical proficiency, but also the importance of empathy, adaptability, and clarity in all forms of communication. Whether speaking with a frustrated service advisor or casually explaining the situation to a friend, the ability to articulate one's experience in a calm, structured manner is universally valuable. It demonstrates respect for the listener's time and expertise, fosters mutual understanding, and lays the groundwork for collaborative problem solving. In today's globalized environment, where communication often crosses cultural and linguistic boundaries, these skills are indispensable. They enable individuals not only to convey information accurately, but also to build rapport and trust in increasingly multicultural settings. In summary, the practical application of appointment cancellation language, as seen through the lens of car troubleshooting, provides a rich, multifaceted learning experience. By effectively describing issues such as a malfunctioning ignition or a flooded carburetor, and by adapting these descriptions to suit various contexts, from emergency calls to casual discussions, individuals can significantly improve their communication skills. This ongoing development of technical vocabulary and conversational proficiency not only equips one to handle car troubles more efficiently, but also serves as a microcosm of effective interpersonal communication in a diverse, global society. As we transition into the final part of our paper, we will take a comprehensive look at how the lessons learned from these practical applications extend to broader communication challenges, highlighting the long-term impact of mastering such language skills on both personal and professional relationships. We will summarize the key takeaways and reflect on how these techniques contribute to a more nuanced, effective, and culturally aware approach to everyday communication. When we consider the journey of understanding and applying English vocabulary for car troubleshooting, it becomes clear that this specialized language is a powerful tool for both practical and personal empowerment. Over the past sections, we examined the foundations of this vocabulary, discussing key terms such as ignition, spark plug, starter motor, carburetor, and accelerator, and exploring how these words encapsulate not only the mechanical processes of a vehicle, but also the broader cultural values associated with self-reliance and technical competence. We then delved into practical conversational techniques that allow individuals to explain issues clearly, describe symptoms accurately, and navigate challenging situations, whether calling a repair center on a chilly morning or interacting face-to-face with a trusted mechanic. Now, in this concluding section, the focus shifts to the long-term impact of these language skills and their role in fostering effective communication in an increasingly interconnected, multicultural world. Mastering the vocabulary used in car troubleshooting goes far beyond learning a set of technical words. It represents the melding of practical problem-solving with linguistic proficiency. In everyday life, dealing with a vehicle that won't start or a malfunctioning part requires more than just technical know-how. It requires clear communication that leads to swift resolution. When a driver is confronted with an issue, the words chosen to describe the problem not only have the potential to expedite repairs, but also to reduce frustration and minimize downtime. For instance, accurately stating that, "I turned the key in the ignition and heard the starter motor crank, but the engine failed to fire," enables a mechanic to focus diagnostic efforts where they matter most. In this way, each well-chosen term is both a descriptive tool and an instrument for fostering trust between car owner and professional. Such clarity is not only beneficial from a practical standpoint, but also reinforces the individual's ability to manage unexpected challenges, a core tenet in the modern world of fast-paced, self-reliant living. The acquisition and application of car troubleshooting vocabulary also carry an important cultural significance. In American society, where cars are emblematic of freedom and independence, having a command of automotive language is almost synonymous with being a responsible, self-sufficient individual. From a young age, many learn basic auto maintenance skills, and over time, this technical lexicon becomes integrated into everyday conversation. It isn't uncommon to hear someone explain a minor mishap by saying, "I was having car trouble this morning," or "My car wouldn't start, and I had to check the spark plug." These phrases signify more than just mechanical failure. They represent a proactive approach to overcoming problems through knowledge and communication. This practical aspect has wide-ranging implications. For example, someone who can clearly articulate what is wrong with their car is more likely to receive timely and effective assistance, whether in an emergency road service call or when explaining the issue to a mechanic during scheduled maintenance. This kind of effective communication is universally valued across cultures, underscoring the fact that language is a key component in resolving technical problems and sustaining personal autonomy. Moreover, the vocabulary and expressions we have examined are not isolated to the realm of car troubleshooting. They also serve as a microcosm of effective communication strategies in broader, more complex settings. The principles underlying the precise articulation of a vehicle's malfunction, clarity, conciseness, and a respectful tone are equally applicable in many professional and personal contexts. Whether negotiating in a business meeting, explaining a technical issue in a work environment, or simply resolving a misunderstanding among friends, the ability to convey information accurately and empathetically is indispensable. As our daily lives become ever more interconnected and reliant on clear communication, the skills developed through mastering automotive vocabulary can have a transformative effect. They enhance overall linguistic competence, boost confidence in technical discussions, and foster better understanding in a variety of multicultural contexts. The evolution of car troubleshooting language has also been shaped by modern communication technologies. Digital communication channels, such as smartphones, email, and online customer support platforms, have transformed the way we report and discuss car troubles. In these settings, the emphasis on clear, text-based descriptions is paramount because there are no vocal intonations or body language cues to help convey emotion. As such, phrases like "my car won't start" or "I couldn't hear the starter motor crank" must be crafted with precision and care. In written communication, selecting the right words ensures that the message remains unambiguous and professional. This shift toward digital exchanges has only underscored the importance of having a robust automotive vocabulary. A well-constructed message can mean the difference between a quick resolution and a prolonged period of inconvenience. The ability to adapt these technical descriptions to various media, while retaining the necessary detail and clarity, speaks to a broader aptitude for effective, versatile communication in our modern, technology-driven society. Globally, as automotive culture spreads and modern vehicles become ubiquitous in regions far beyond North America and Europe, the technical language associated with car troubleshooting is increasingly recognized as a universal set of descriptors that spans cultural and linguistic boundaries. Terms like ignition, accelerator, and spark plug have become standardized vocabulary worldwide, used by mechanics, service providers, and car enthusiasts alike. This global standardization is particularly valuable for international travelers and those living in multicultural environments, as it allows them to communicate effectively about common issues regardless of location. When someone abroad experiences car trouble, being able to use this universally recognized terminology facilitates quicker resolution and alleviates the stress of navigating a foreign language. Thus, mastering these terms contributes not only to individual empowerment, but also to enhance cross-cultural communication in a world where mobility and international exchange are increasingly the norm. Furthermore, effective communication in car troubleshooting is closely linked to personal responsibility and empowerment. When you understand the mechanics behind a malfunctioning engine and can clearly describe the symptoms, you gain a sense of control over the situation. This empowerment, being able to voice your concerns, ask insightful questions, and comprehend the technician's explanation, is a vital skill in a society where self-sufficiency is highly prized. It transcends mere vocabulary. It reflects an attitude of taking charge of one's well-being and engaging actively in problem resolution. This proactive stance is an essential element of modern communication, as it encourages an informed, hands-on approach to everyday challenges, from auto repair to other technical domains. The broader impact of mastering car troubleshooting language extends into how it shapes our overall understanding of specialized communication. In technical fields, clear and precise language is paramount, and the strategies employed in automotive troubleshooting provide a model for similar practices in other areas. The need to describe a problem in a step-by-step manner, to isolate symptoms with accuracy, and to propose viable solutions echoes the requirements of effective communication in fields as diverse as information technology, healthcare, and engineering. By internalizing these techniques, learners can transfer these skills to other technical discussions, thereby enhancing their overall ability to articulate complex issues and solutions in any professional setting. In this way, the language of car troubleshooting is both a practical necessity and a microcosm of effective problem-solving communication that benefits individuals long after the immediate issue is resolved. Considering the multicultural context, it's important to recognize that communication styles vary widely across different societies. While in many Western contexts, a direct and explicit expression is valued. In other cultures, conveying the same information might involve a more nuanced or indirect approach. For example, when explaining that a car won't start, some speakers may offer a lengthy explanation full of contextual details and apologies, whereas others may simply state the problem succinctly and request assistance without further elaboration. The variation in styles underscores the importance of cultural sensitivity. Adapting your message to suit the audience can significantly affect how it is received. For non-native speakers working in a global environment, being aware of these differences and learning to adjust one's language accordingly is crucial for effective cross-cultural communication. The role of feedback in this process cannot be underestimated. When a car owner successfully conveys a problem and receives clear, accurate guidance in return, it reinforces the confidence to use technical vocabulary in everyday interactions. Similarly, when a mistake is made, perhaps an error in describing the fault or misusing a technical term, corrective feedback from a mechanic or a peer can serve as a learning opportunity. This iterative process of communication, correction, and reinforcement is central to language acquisition and is particularly effective in context-rich fields like automotive troubleshooting. The repetitive exposure to and active practice of these expressions in various scenarios helps solidify their usage, making them an integral part of one's linguistic repertoire. In addition, the art of car troubleshooting communication plays a significant role in fostering an environment of mutual respect and professionalism. When a car owner takes the time to articulate their problem clearly and respectfully, using the correct vocabulary and tone, they not only expedite the repair process but also contribute to a positive interaction with the service provider. Respectful, precise communication can transform what might be a frustrating, stressful situation into a collaborative problem-solving session. This element of mutual respect is particularly important in customer service and technical support settings, where the quality of communication directly influences the satisfaction of both parties. It also reflects broader societal values, where effective communication is seen as a cornerstone of good interpersonal relationships, whether on the road or in professional interactions. Moreover, as global communication continues to evolve with the rapid spread of digital technologies, the language used in car troubleshooting has adapted to meet new challenges and opportunities. Online forums, social media, and digital repair guides have made it easier for car owners to share their experiences and gather advice from professionals and peers around the world. In these online interactions, the use of standardized, clear automotive vocabulary ensures that the message is understood by a diverse audience. This shared lexicon not only facilitates efficient problem-solving, but also promotes a sense of community among car enthusiasts and everyday drivers alike. The ability to articulate technical details in a manner that is both accessible and accurate has become increasingly important as more aspects of vehicle maintenance and repair are managed digitally. For language learners, this represents an opportunity to engage with authentic, contextually relevant content that enhances both their technical vocabulary and their overall communicative competence. As we reflect on these various dimensions of effective car troubleshooting communication, it is evident that mastering this vocabulary is a multifaceted endeavor. It involves not only understanding the meanings of specific technical terms, but also acquiring the skills necessary to use them appropriately in different contexts. Whether one is interacting with a mechanic over the phone, writing an email to a service center, or engaging in everyday conversations about car maintenance with friends, the clarity, precision, and cultural sensitivity inherent in this vocabulary are essential. They enable smooth, effective communication that can lead to speedy problem resolution and, more broadly, enhance personal confidence and independence. In many respects, the language of car troubleshooting is emblematic of a larger trend in modern communication: the need to balance technical expertise with everyday accessibility. This linguistic balance is vital in a world where the rapid pace of technological innovation often necessitates new vocabularies and specialized terminology. Yet, no matter how advanced these systems become, the ability to communicate complex technical information in a simple, clear, and empathetic manner remains a timeless skill. The process of troubleshooting at its core is about understanding a problem, communicating it effectively, and working collaboratively to find a solution. The language we use for this purpose is therefore more than a set of isolated terms. It is a reflection of how we approach challenges, how we express our vulnerability and resilience, and how we build bridges of understanding in our daily lives. The lessons learned from mastering car troubleshooting vocabulary extend far beyond the realm of automotive repair. They illustrate the importance of being equipped with the right words at the right time, the value of clear and respectful communication, and the power of language to transform a potentially frustrating situation into a constructive, collaborative experience. These are the very qualities that define effective communication in any technical or personal context. By internalizing these lessons, individuals not only become more adept at solving car-related problems, but also more confident in their ability to navigate the complex terrain of modern language, an ability that is indispensable in a globalized society. In sum, the exploration of car troubleshooting language, from its technical vocabulary to its practical application in real-world scenarios, reveals a rich, multifaceted communication process. This process is shaped by the need for clarity and precision, the cultural expectations of politeness and efficiency, and the ever-evolving landscape of technology and global interaction. By mastering the language used in these interactions, individuals gain a powerful tool for problem-solving, one that reinforces their independence and enhances their ability to collaborate effectively with others. The skills developed in this context are transferable to numerous other fields where precise, empathetic communication is paramount. As we bring our discussion to a close, it is clear that the language of car troubleshooting exemplifies the intersection of technical knowledge and everyday communication, a blend that empowers individuals, fosters mutual understanding, and serves as a cornerstone of effective problem-solving in an increasingly complex world. Whether troubleshooting a minor inconvenience or addressing a critical failure, the ability to convey the problem accurately and courteously can mean the difference between a quick, effective solution and prolonged frustration. This comprehensive understanding of automotive vocabulary not only improves individual competence in managing vehicle issues, but also enhances broader communication skills that are essential in both personal and professional contexts. Ultimately, the mastery of car troubleshooting vocabulary is about more than knowing what a spark plug or a starter motor is. It's about developing the confidence to speak clearly and assertively when problems arise, and the ability to adapt that language to various settings, be it over the phone, in person, or in a digital message. It illustrates how specialized language can be seamlessly integrated into everyday communication, turning technical discourse into accessible, relatable conversation. For English learners and native speakers alike, these skills are vital for navigating the real world, where effective communication is a key to success, safety, and personal empowerment. In conclusion, through a close examination of the vocabulary and conversational strategies used in car troubleshooting, we have uncovered how the thoughtful application of specific language not only facilitates rapid problem resolution, but also exemplifies a broader model of effective, empathetic communication. The ability to articulate vehicle problems clearly, balancing technical detail with courteous explanation, empowers individuals to take control of challenging situations, reduces misunderstandings, and fosters a spirit of collaboration. As language continues to evolve within the realm of technology and multicultural communication, these foundational skills remain indispensable. They highlight the transformative power of language in bridging gaps, fostering understanding, and ultimately, ensuring that even when faced with mechanical failures, our vehicles and our lives run as smoothly as possible.
The English Pod Audio Review. Listen to the meaning, then say the vocabulary word.
Look at something in a careful way. Go through. A device to start up the car. Ignition. Electrical device that ignites the gas by electric. Spark plug. An electric motor for starting an engine. Starter motor. To start an engine, motor, etc. Crank. The device which helps cars get running. Engine. A pedal that controls the throttle valve. Accelerator. Mixes air with gasoline vapor prior to explosion. Carburetor.
Let's try that faster.
An electric motor for starting an engine. Starter motor. A pedal that controls the throttle valve. Accelerator. Look at something in a careful way. Go through. A device to start up the car. Ignition. To start an engine, motor, etc. Crank. Electrical device that ignites the gas by electric. Spark plug. The device which helps cars get running. Engine. Mixes air with gasoline vapor prior to explosion. Carburetor.
Now say the word and hear it in a sentence.
Ignition. He turned the key in the ignition and the truck roared to life. Ignition. His new car has a keyless ignition system. Ignition. I put the keys into the boat's ignition switch and turned it on. Spark plug. The mechanic took a look at my car and said that the spark plug needed to be replaced. Spark plug. Tens of thousands of volts travel down the spark plug to ignite the fuel. Spark plug. I checked everything, including the spark plug, and there doesn't seem to be anything wrong with your car. Starter motor. The motor turned the crank, which started the machine. Starter motor. The starter motor in my car is defective. Starter motor. I ripped the cord on the boat's motor and started to travel across the lake. Crank. In the olden days, people had to manually crank the engine for the car to start. Crank. Nowadays, a motor cranks the engine in order to start the car. Crank. This time, the starter motor finally cranked when I turned the key. Engine. Can you start the engine about 5 minutes before we're supposed to leave? Engine. The engine sputtered and then it died. Engine. I can hear my engine straining in its old age.
Thanks for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed this episode and gained some new insights. Don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss any future episodes. See you next time.